Hi, this is Dr. Deborah Kissen, founder and CEO of Light on Anxiety Treatment Centers. And I want to take this opportunity to welcome you and your family to Light on Anxiety. And you will be receiving this welcome video after scheduling your first appointment with Light on Anxiety. So congratulations on taking the first step forward. It can be stressful and challenging to get started with mental health services, and our goal is to make the experience as stress-free, easy, efficient, and effective as possible. And so the first step in the process is giving you a bit of background about what to expect when you or your child receives treatment at Light on Anxiety. So a bit of background about Light on Anxiety and our clinical specialty policy. Light on Anxiety specializes in CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, ERP, and medication management services for anxiety, OCD, and related conditions. We offer empirically supported treatment for anxiety and related disorders. There are certain conditions that we will not be appropriate for. So if you are looking for as a main treatment goal, substance abuse, if you're struggling with self-harm, suicidal ideation, thoughts of harm to yourself or others, if this is court-ordered treatment. And so if you are watching this video, if you booked an appointment and you have a different treatment goal than anxiety and related disorders, there are wonderful providers out there, and you deserve to get care that best meets your needs. A bit of additional information about Light on Anxiety: we do offer comprehensive integrated anxiety treatment. What that means is you may come in for therapy and may want to learn more about medication, or your therapist might ask you if you'd like to get a consult if another tool in the toolbox may be helpful. We have neuropsych testing services to get a better idea of what symptoms and disorders may be driving challenges beyond what you are coming in looking to work on. All of these things are offered at Light on Anxiety, and depending on your goals and your work with your clinical team, different recommendations will be made. A little bit about what CBT, the Light on Anxiety way, means. Light on Anxiety offers cognitive behavioral therapy, empirically supported treatment that is hands-on and action-oriented. So it may not look like therapy that you have seen before or experienced before, or in a movie what therapy looks like in terms of sitting back and talking about what is bothering you and what you wish could be different. It is a very action-oriented approach, and in session we're going to do behavioral experiments. We're going to really learn to play with anxiety and make contact with it and learn that we could handle being uncomfortable. And not only in session, but you're going to work with your clinician to come up with homework assignments, practice assignments that you can engage in throughout the week, because change happens not just in that 1 hour, but it's really the more times you're working this new muscle of navigating emotional distress and triggering situations in a new way, the more rapidly you're going to obtain results. I'm sharing with you a sample chart that is a recent outcome study that showed our average client within 3 months experiences a clinically and statistically significant drop in anxiety symptoms as measured by a GAD-7. So that's a tool to measure anxiety symptoms. That doesn't mean that treatment is over at 3 months, in that there's often several goals that people have. And what we will do, though, is actively review outcome measures. We're going to actively review your treatment plan at the start of therapy, and then every 6 months or sooner to determine, are we on track? Is there a new goal that you would like to work on? So the point is, you deserve results. You deserve to know if it's working. And if you're feeling stuck in the process, that means that it's time to pivot and maybe add a different clinical resource into the mix, or a different CBT approach. All of these things can be added to treatment, but we kind of have to track it and know if it's working, or if it's not working, then we could decide to try something else. So we really focus on results for you, which is, of course, what you deserve. In terms of getting these results, it does happen through consistent practice. So we could talk about it in session, talk that and practice in session, but then you're going to also want to practice when you're home in very specific, manageable ways. What CBT for anxiety and related disorders, as well as effective medication management, requires is a commitment to the process. And so that means the agreed upon treatment plan with your clinical team, then actually showing up for those sessions. And so attendance is really important. And if you don't have the bandwidth to commit to the appointments, then it may not be the right time to work on anxiety treatment in your life. Just one point of our policy in terms if you do need to cancel last minute or less than 48 hours notice, if you can reschedule within a 4 calendar day period, you will not be charged the cancellation fee of $100. And we want to work with you, and we understand life happens at the same time, to drive a process that entails consistent in attendance and practice is really important for you to get what you deserve out of treatment. In particular, when working with children and adolescents, we really strive to work as a team. We are all working together with the same goal of minimizing anxiety and emotional distress and maximizing your child's functioning and ability to live life on their own terms versus being kind of bullied around by anxiety, telling them what they can or cannot do. And so it's going to depend a little bit on each family situation and each child/teen developmentally in terms of how to involve the parents. That might be at the start of the session, having a team kickoff and reviewing the week, reviewing homework, reviewing goals for the session. It may be monthly parent-only meetings if your child is really looking to take the reins, and having parents as part of the session is taking away some of the momentum. So we really want to customize it for what's most effective. But the one thing that will always be in place is that you are so critical, of course, to your child's success, and your involvement is something we deeply value. And so we always want to have at least one legal guardian parent available at the time of the session. That might just be to call at the end of the session to review homework, or maybe to share, to help have a facilitated conversation about something your child was hoping to express. And so as your child's getting older, that doesn't mean being physically in the appointment, but available, having your phone near you, in that we might want to share something or get your perspective. As I discussed, we do offer a team-based model. And so you're working with the primary therapist that you've been assigned to. All of our clinical providers have advanced training in the treatment of anxiety and related disorders. In addition, they have a clinical supervisor who is overseeing the work, reviewing the session notes, discussing ideas for making progress if it feels like another vantage point will help. There may be an occasion where the clinical lead will join the session to also share that perspective. So we try to be flexible and bring in the different team members that will drive the results that you're looking for. As I discussed, that also means we have medication prescribers on staff, and so you'll have that coordinated care if that is a tool you choose to use, versus fragmented treatment delivery where you're speaking to an outside provider, speaking to your therapist, and the parts don't coordinate. So all services received through Light Anxiety, we are all centered around you and your needs and goals. In terms of confidentiality for therapy services, Everything that you discuss is confidential, with the exception of of harm to self or others. Also, if there is court-ordered release of records, we would have to release your records. And also, if you ever choose to release your records, if you ever are applying for life insurance or they're also your records, so we can release the records to you as well. So as we're taking notes, these are really your documents to help create a roadmap of the path towards progress that you're looking for. And next thing I wanted to discuss is when it comes to confidentiality and working with children and teens. And there's some nuance to this in that for younger children, so aged 11 and younger, the legal guardian, the parents, have full access to the medical record. So you're the owner of the medical record. All information you can have access to if that's something that you want to review. For children, for teens 12 to 17, parents are legally entitled to the diagnosis, what are their treatment recommendations, the services we're providing, the services that we're recommending. So still, there's a very good amount of information that you are legally entitled to, but if you wanted the full record, that is something that your teen would have to provide a release of information. Also, to coordinate care with an external provider, if with the school, with any other external provider, your teen would have to just sign off on that release of information. So working within these confines, we are really striving for that team-based approach of including your perspective and sharing the progress. In terms of harm to self or others, that is always something that is reportable and so goes beyond confidentiality if there is a risk of harm to self or other. In terms of communicating with light on anxiety as a practice, as well as with the clinical team, therapist, or medication prescriber you'll be working with, we have a user-friendly client portal made available to you. And after you book your first session, you will receive an invitation to join the portal. To log in, all you need is your name and date of birth and email address. So if you ever forget your login information, very easy to re-log in. And also in terms of finding the portal web address, if you ever forget how to access it, you could always go right to our website, Light on Anxiety. And then from there, the client portal is available on the top of the website. In our portal, you can cancel, reschedule appointments, book new appointments. That's how we'll be sharing information with you, assigning homeworks. You can use the messaging to share updates if you have any questions. One thing I do want to point out is that anything that is clinical in nature will be addressed in the session time. And so if you share something that has a question requiring a clinical lens, that will be discussed at the next appointment. And to really provide you with the answer that you deserve often takes an interaction and really understand what you're looking for. So clinical information will be discussed in session, and the portal should really primarily be used for logistical information, as well as assigning you activities and practice. If you do need an extra session that maybe, or having some symptoms that you would like to address prior to your next scheduled session time, you can always book an on-demand appointment, meaning look for the next available appointment. We often have same day available appointments within 2 hours, so you can get your clinical needs met really ASAP. In terms of additional services, it can be helpful to coordinate care with external providers, to coordinate with schools. You might request a letter or need a form filled out. So if possible, if your insurance allows some level of coordination of care with an external provider, we are in network with Blue Cross and Aetna. We will attempt to bill for that. Insurance does not pay for coordination of care with schools, and forms and reports and letter writing are not insurance covered actions. So that would be something that would be billed at the private pay fee, although very important and can allow for expedited progress if you are needing information so that the school, for example, is on the same page as your provider. And so when necessary, we'll always be brief, and effective coordination of care with external providers is something that I do recommend. In terms of prescription policies, we take our time in prescribing. And so at that first appointment, we want to hear you. We want to understand where you're coming from. There are no guarantees that a prescription will be prescribed at that first appointment. If there's some complexity worthy of a second appointment to get you the most appropriate treatment for you. And in terms of the light on anxiety way of prescribing medication, we are looking to engage with you. We want to hear how the medication is going for you. And so effective treatment at light on anxiety does require regular follow-ups to be determined based on what you're looking to work on, how frequently the follow-ups will be recommended. And that's something to be determined between you and the prescriber or prescribers you're working with. If you do need a new refill, you're going to work with your prescriber to plan ahead. So the point is there should be an appointment scheduled before you run out. If something happens, we are certainly available to refill, although we require 2 business days to ensure that we will get it to your pharmacy by then. It may be certainly sooner than that, but the goal is to get ahead of you needing your refills filled. And we will only refill prescriptions if a client is active and has ongoing treatment, as we certainly want to oversee your care and make sure that you are on the right track. So all of this information is in the informed consent that will be sent to you as part of the intake information. We strive to make the process as simple, user-friendly as possible. And so each of these fields that we're asking you for background information, we are looking over carefully. We've removed anything that is extraneous. We don't want to waste your time, but we also want the information that's going to get started. So at the very first session, we're going to begin your healing journey and get to work. So just know the time you're spending with the onboarding process is going to serve you well. And all of this information is in the informed consent in written form. If you want to review anything, you're also always welcome to reach out to Light on Anxiety. You could email hello@lightonanxiety, message us through the website. We're available, and we are here and honored to serve you in your journey towards freedom from anxiety and related disorders. And I look forward to seeing you at our different Light on Anxiety offices. Until then, wishing you the best.